The reckoning begins. The rain hammered against the courthouse windows like bullets, each drop a reminder of the storm brewing inside. Detective Maya Castillo adjusted her worn leather jacket and pushed through the heavy oak doors, her boots echoing against marble floors that had witnessed decades of broken promises and shattered lives. She wasn't supposed to be here. Internal Affairs had suspended her 3 days ago, badge and gun confiscated, pending investigation into allegations she knew were fabricated. But when her informant texted about Judge Webb's emergency hearing, Maya couldn't stay away. The courtroom was nearly empty except for a lone figure hunched over legal documents at the defendant's table. Maya slid into the back row, studying the man who'd become her obsession over the past 6 months. Dr. Nathan Cross looked nothing like the brilliant surgeon who'd once saved lives with hands steadier than a watchmaker's. His dark hair was disheveled, his expensive suit wrinkled, and his green eyes held the hollow look of someone who'd lost everything that mattered. "Dr. Cross," Judge Webb's voice cut through the silence like a blade. "You stand accused of medical malpractice resulting in the death of Elena Morrison. How do you plead?" Nathan rose slowly, his movements deliberate despite the tremor Maya noticed in his left hand. "Not guilty, Your Honor." Webb's smile was predatory. "Of course you do. They always do." He shuffled papers with theatrical indifference. "I've reviewed the evidence. The jury won't even need to deliberate. You killed that girl through gross negligence, and everyone in this city knows it." Maya's jaw clenched. She'd spent months investigating Elena Morrison's death, following leads that pointed to something far more sinister than malpractice. Webb was rushing this to trial because he wanted Nathan destroyed, but Maya still didn't know why. "Your Honor." Nathan's voice was steady despite the chaos Maya could see brewing beneath his surface. "I request adequate time to prepare my defense. Elena Morrison died because someone tampered with her IV medication. I have evidence." "Evidence?" Webb leaned forward, his eyes glittering with malice. "You have theories, desperate attempts to shift blame from your own incompetence?" Maya watched Nathan's hands clench into fists. She recognized that look that barely contained fury. It was the same expression she wore every time corrupt officials destroyed innocent lives while hiding behind their positions of power. "I saved her life once," Nathan said, his voice breaking slightly. "I would never hurt her." "But you did hurt her," Webb replied with surgical precision. "You killed her, and in 3 weeks, you'll pay for it." As the gavel fell, Nathan turned toward the gallery, his eyes meeting Maya's for the first time. The connection was instant and electric, 2 wounded souls recognizing their shared hunger for justice. But there was something else in his gaze, something that made Maya's breath catch. Fear. Not of prison or losing his career, but something deeper, something personal. Nathan mouthed a single word that made Maya's blood run cold. "Help." Outside the courthouse, Maya waited in the rain, her instincts screaming that everything about this case was wrong. When Nathan emerged, shoulders hunched against the storm, she stepped from the shadows. "Dr. Cross." He spun around, water streaming down his face. Up close, she could see the exhaustion etched into his features, the weight of carrying secrets that were slowly destroying him. "You're the detective," he said, recognition flickering in his eyes. "The one asking questions about Elena." "Maya Castillo." "And you're innocent." Nathan's laugh was bitter. "Tell that to Webb. Tell that to the medical board. Tell that to Elena's family." "I'm telling it to you." Maya stepped closer, close enough to smell his cologne mixed with rain and desperation. "Someone's framing you, and Judge Webb is helping them do it. The question is why?" For a moment, Nathan's facade cracked completely, revealing the raw pain beneath. "Because I found out something I wasn't supposed to know. Something that could destroy powerful people in this city." "What kind of something?" Nathan glanced around nervously, then pulled Maya into an alley where the shadows provided cover. "Elena wasn't just my patient. She was going to testify against a medical supply company that's been bribing doctors and judges to cover up defective equipment. Equipment that's killed dozens of people." Maya's pulse quickened. "And Webb? He's been taking money to dismiss malpractice suits. Elena had proof." Nathan's voice dropped to a whisper. She gave it to me the night before she died. Where is it now? Nathan's eyes met hers, and Maya saw something that made her stomach drop. Someone broke into my apartment last night. They took everything. The weight of his words hit her like a physical blow. If Nathan was telling the truth, then Elena Morrison had been murdered to silence her, and now both Nathan and Maya were marked for destruction by people with the power to make them disappear. Dr. Cross, Maya said carefully, I think we're both dead. Dangerous alliances. Maya's apartment felt like a tomb at 2 a.m. The only sound, the steady drip of her leaking faucet, and Nathan's restless pacing across her hardwood floor. 3 hours had passed since she'd brought him here. 3 hours of paranoia, and growing awareness that the space between them was charged with more than just shared danger. Stop pacing, Maya said from her position by the window, eyes scanning the empty street below. You're making me nervous. Nathan ran a hand through his dark hair. Sorry. I haven't slept in days. He paused, studying her profile in the dim light. Why are you helping me? You don't even know me. Maya turned from the window, her brown eyes meeting his. In the lamplight, she looked younger than her 32 years, vulnerable in a way that made Nathan's chest tighten unexpectedly. Because I know what it's like to be destroyed by people who think they're untouchable. What happened to you? I testified against my own partner for taking bribes. The department buried it, destroyed my career, and left me radioactive. Maya's voice was steady, but Nathan caught the tremor of old pain. Now I'm suspended pending an investigation that's designed to force me out. Nathan stopped pacing, something shifting in his expression. So we're both casualties. Not yet. Maya moved away from the window, close enough that Nathan could see the determination burning in her eyes. Elena gave you evidence before she died. Where would she have hidden backup copies? I've been through everywhere. Her apartment, her office, even her car. Nathan's frustration bled through every word. Whoever killed her was thorough. What about her personal relationships, family, friends? Nathan's face darkened. Elena didn't trust easily. After what happened to her brother, she became paranoid about everyone except. He trailed off, realization dawning. Except who? Me. The words came out barely above a whisper. She trusted me because I saved her life during her first surgery 2 years ago. We became close. Maybe too close for a doctor-patient relationship. Maya felt an unexpected stab of jealousy, which she immediately pushed down. How close? Nathan met her eyes, and Maya saw the guilt that had been eating him alive. Close enough that I should have recused myself from her case. Close enough that when she came to me scared and desperate, I believed her without question. Close enough that I failed to protect her. The raw honesty in his voice made Maya's heart clench. She'd spent so long around corrupt cops and lying. Criminals that Nathan's vulnerability was like discovering water in a desert. She cared about you, Maya said softly. That means she would have found a way to protect you too. Nathan's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and went rigid. It's from Elena's number. Maya was beside him instantly. That's impossible. The text was simple. Rooftop, St. Mary's Hospital. Come alone or Maya dies. They stared at each other, the weight of the threat settling between them like a physical presence. It's a trap, Maya said. Obviously. Nathan was already reaching for his jacket. But they have your name. They know you're helping me. Maya grabbed his arm, surprised by the warmth of his skin through the fabric. We stick together. I'm not letting you face this alone. Maya, if something happens to you because of me, nothing's going to happen. But even as she said it, Maya knew they were walking into something that would change everything between them. St. Mary's Hospital loomed against the night sky like a Gothic cathedral, its windows glowing with the eternal vigilance of a place where life and death battled constantly. Maya and Nathan moved through the abandoned corridors like ghosts, their footsteps echoing in the emptiness. The rooftop access door was propped open, an invitation that felt like a noose tightening around their necks. They climbed the stairs, in silence, both acutely aware that each step might be their last. Judge Webb stood at the edge of the rooftop, his silver hair whipping in the wind. He wasn't alone. Two men in dark suits flanked him, their hands resting casually on concealed weapons. "Dr. Cross," Webb's voice carried easily across the space. "You've been a very difficult man to kill." Nathan stepped forward, and Maya felt rather than saw his transformation from vulnerable man to someone capable of violence. "Where's Elena's evidence?" "Burned, along with her backup files, her computer, and anything else that could have exposed our arrangement." Webb's smile was triumphant. Elena Morrison was an idealistic child who didn't understand how the world really works. "She understood that you were taking money to let people die," Maya called out, her hand moving instinctively toward her concealed weapon. Webb's attention shifted to her, his eyes cold and calculating. "Detective Castillo, your reputation for righteousness precedes you. It's also going to get you killed." "Maybe," Maya replied, stepping beside Nathan until their shoulders touched. "But not before I expose every dirty deal you've made." "Expose it to whom?" "Your own department wants you gone. The district attorney is in our pocket. The mayor owes his election to contributions from MedCorp Industries." Webb spread his arms wide. "There's no one left to save you." Nathan's hand found Maya's, his fingers intertwining with hers in a gesture that felt both protective and desperate. The touch sent electricity racing up her arm, and Maya realized with startling clarity that, somewhere between the courthouse and this moment, she'd fallen for him. "There's one thing you didn't count on," Nathan said, his voice steady despite the odds against them. "And what's that?" Nathan squeezed Maya's hand, and she understood. They'd lost everything else, but they'd found each other. In a world full of corruption and betrayal, they were each other's last honest connection. "Elena didn't trust anyone," Nathan said. "Except me. She didn't give me the evidence because she thought I could use it. She gave it to me because she knew I'd do whatever it took to keep it safe." Webb's confidence flickered. The evidence was destroyed. Not all of it. Nathan's smile was sharp as broken glass. "Elena recorded everything, including her conversations with you about dismissing cases in exchange for campaign contributions. She gave me the recordings to hold, not to use." "That's impossible." Maya felt Nathan tense beside her, preparing for what came next. "Elena Morrison loved me," he said quietly, "and I loved her, which is why she made sure that if anything happened to her, I'd have everything I needed to destroy the people who killed her." Webb nodded to his men, and Maya saw the glint of metal in the darkness. "The recordings are already uploaded to a secure server," Nathan continued, his voice carrying across the rooftop like a death sentence. "If we don't check in every 12 hours, they get sent to every news outlet in the country." As the first gunshot shattered the night, Maya threw herself against Nathan, driving them both behind the rooftop access housing. In the chaos that followed, one thought burned through her mind with crystal clarity. She would die before letting them hurt him. But as return gunfire erupted from positions she hadn't seen, Maya realized Nathan had lied about something crucial, and that lie might be the only thing standing between them and complete annihilation. Trust shattered. The safe house smelled of stale cigarettes and broken dreams, its peeling wallpaper and water-stained ceiling a testament to its role as a way station for the desperate. Maya pressed a bloody cloth against the bullet graze on Nathan's shoulder while he sat motionless on the edge of a sagging bed, his face a mask of pain that went far deeper than the wound. "The backup team," Maya said for the third time. "Where did they come from?" Nathan's green eyes were distant, haunted. "I made some calls before we went to the hospital. To who? Maya's voice sharpened with suspicion that tasted like poison in her mouth. People I trusted. People who said they wanted to help bring down Webb's operation. Maya's hands stilled on the bandage. Something in Nathan's tone made her stomach clench with dread. What people, Nathan? He finally looked at her, and Maya saw the terrible weight of secrets in his eyes. My brother runs a private security firm. Ex-military contractors who specialize in situations like this. Your brother. Maya stood up, putting distance between them. You never mentioned a brother. Marcus Cross. He's been investigating MedCorp Industries for months, trying to build a case against them. Nathan's words came out rushed, defensive. When Elena was killed, I reached out to him for help. Maya felt the world tilting beneath her feet. Nathan, how long have you been in contact with your brother about this? Since before Elena died. The admission hit Maya like a physical blow. She stumbled backward, her mind racing through implications that made her sick. You've been lying to me. Maya, it's not what you think. Then tell me what it is. Her voice cracked with betrayal. Tell me why you never mentioned that you had help. Tell me why you let me think we were alone against Webb when you've had a team of mercenaries backing you up. Nathan stood, his injured shoulder forgotten in the face of Maya's fury. Because I was trying to protect you. Protect me from what? From the truth about why Elena really died. Maya's blood turned to ice. What truth? Nathan ran his good hand through his hair, a gesture she'd found endearing just hours ago and now seemed like manipulation. Elena wasn't killed to stop her from testifying against MedCorp. She was killed because she found out about something much bigger. What could be bigger than a medical supply company bribing judges and killing patients? Human trafficking. The words fell between them like stones into still water. MedCorp has been using their medical supply routes to move people. Women and children, mostly from Eastern Europe and Central America. Elena discovered the shipping manifest by accident when she was researching defective equipment. Maya sank into a chair, the weight of Nathan's revelation crushing her chest. And your brother knew about this? Marcus has been trying to build a case against the trafficking network for over a year. When I told him about Elena's evidence, he realized she'd stumbled onto his investigation. So you've been working with your brother this entire time? Maya's voice was hollow. Everything you told me about being alone, about being framed, about needing my help, was true, Nathan said desperately. Maya, I never lied about my feelings for you. Your feelings? Maya laughed bitterly. You used me. You let me risk my career, my life, my freedom to help you when you already had everything you needed. I needed you. Nathan stepped toward her, but Maya held up a hand to stop him. You needed a dirty cop with nothing to lose who could access police files and provide cover while your brother's team did the real work. That's not true. Maya stood, her brown eyes blazing with hurt and anger. Then why didn't you tell me about Marcus from the beginning? Why the lies, the manipulation, the performance of being vulnerable and afraid? Nathan's face crumpled, and Maya saw the truth written in his expression before he spoke the words that would destroy what was left of her trust. Because Marcus told me not to? The silence stretched between them like a chasm. Outside, sirens wailed in the distance, and Maya wondered if they were coming for her or if they were just another reminder that the world was full of emergencies that couldn't be fixed. Maya, please, Nathan said softly. Let me explain. Explain what? That your brother is running his own private war against human traffickers and you recruited me as an unwitting asset? That everything between us has been part of some operation I was never supposed to know about? Not everything, Nathan's voice broke. What I feel for you is real. What happened between us tonight, the way you threw yourself in front of those bullets, the way you fought for Elena's memory, for justice, for me, that's all real? Maya wanted to believe him. Every fiber of her being screamed to forgive him, to understand that he'd been protecting her from danger she couldn't imagine. But the professional part of her mind, the detective who'd survived years on the streets by reading people's lies, knew there was more. What else haven't you told me? Nathan closed his eyes, and Maya knew the worst was yet to come. Webb isn't the head of this operation. He's just middle management. The real power behind MedCorp's trafficking network is someone with connections at the highest levels of government. Someone who can make both of us disappear without a trace. Who? Nathan opened his eyes and Maya saw fear there that went beyond personal safety. District Attorney Patricia Hawthorne. She's been using her position to protect the trafficking routes and eliminate anyone who gets too close to the truth. Maya's knees nearly buckled. Patricia Hawthorne was a rising star in politics, a crusader for justice who'd made her career prosecuting human traffickers. The irony was so cruel it felt like a joke the universe was playing at their expense. Elena was going to meet with Hawthorne the day she died, Nathan continued. She thought she'd found an ally who would help her expose the corruption. Instead, she found the person orchestrating it. Yes. Maya stared at Nathan, seeing him clearly for the first time since they'd met. Not the vulnerable doctor she'd fallen for, but a man carrying secrets that could topple governments and destroy lives. A man whose brother was fighting a shadow war against forces that turned human beings into commodities. A man who'd drawn her into something so dangerous that her suspended badge and empty service weapon were laughably inadequate protection. "We have to run," she said quietly. "Maya, we have to run right now, tonight, before Hawthorne realizes we know the truth." Nathan reached for her, but Maya stepped away. The space between them felt like an ocean now, filled with lies and omissions and the wreckage of whatever they might have been. "I can't trust you," she whispered. "I know. I don't know what's real and what's manipulation." "I know. But I can't abandon Elena's memory. I can't let these people win." Nathan nodded, understanding flooding his features. "So what do we do?" Maya walked to the window, looking out at the city lights that had once seemed full of promise, and now looked like the eyes of predators waiting in the darkness. When she turned back to Nathan, her expression was resolved. "We finish this. But first, you're going to tell me every single truth you've been hiding. Every secret, every lie, every manipulation. All of it. And then?" Maya met his eyes, her heart breaking and hardening simultaneously. "And then we see if there's anything left between us worth saving." Nathan's phone buzzed with an incoming call. The name on the screen made them both freeze. Marcus Cross. As Nathan reached for the phone, Maya realized they were about to learn just how deep the deception went. The ultimate betrayal. Nathan's hand trembled as he answered the phone, Maya watching his every micro-expression with the intensity of a woman who'd learned too late that love could be weaponized. "Marcus," Nathan said, his voice carefully neutral. "Thank God you're alive." The voice coming through the speaker was deeper than Nathan's, roughened by years of command and combat. "We lost contact after the hospital. Are you secure? We're safe." Maya noticed the hesitation before Nathan said, "we," the way he glanced at her like he was revealing something he wasn't supposed to share. "We!" Marcus's tone sharpened. "Nathan, please tell me you didn't involve the detective further than we discussed." Maya's blood turned to ice. "Put it on speaker," she whispered. Nathan's eyes met hers, and she saw the moment he made his choice. He pressed the speaker button. "She's here, Marcus. Maya's here, and she knows everything." The silence stretched for 5 seconds that felt like hours. "That's problematic," Marcus said finally. Maya leaned toward the phone. "Mr. Cross, this is Detective Castillo. I think it's time we talk directly." "Detective?" Marcus's voice was professionally cordial, but Maya caught the underlying steel. "My brother speaks very highly of you. Your brother has been lying to me since we met. I'm hoping you'll be more honest." "Nathan hasn't been lying. He's been protecting you from information that could get you killed. Like the fact that you've been using this human trafficking investigation as cover for your own operation?" Another pause, longer this time. "What exactly do you think you know, Detective?" Maya looked at Nathan, who'd gone pale. "I know that your private security firm has been tracking MedCorp's trafficking network. I know that Elena Morrison stumbled onto your investigation. And I know that you've been manipulating events to eliminate competitors in the trafficking business while positioning yourself to take over their routes." "Maya, no," Nathan said, his voice strangled. "That's not what's happening. Isn't it?" Maya's voice was cold as winter. "Your brother runs a company that specializes in moving people quietly across international borders. He has contacts in law enforcement and government. He knew about Elena's evidence before she was killed, and somehow his team just happened to be in position to save us tonight. Marcus's laughter came through the speaker, low and genuinely amused. You're very good, Detective. I can see why Nathan is so taken with you. Marcus, don't, Nathan warned. It's all right, brother. She's earned the truth. Marcus's tone shifted, becoming conversational. Detective Castillo, you're absolutely correct. I have been using the investigation into MedCorp's trafficking network to position my organization as their replacement. Nathan staggered as if he'd been shot. What? The difference is, Marcus continued, my operation focuses on moving people who want to be moved. Refugees, asylum seekers, people fleeing persecution. I provide a service that corrupt governments and broken immigration systems make necessary. Maya felt the world spinning around her. You're still a human trafficker. I'm a human liberator. There's a significant difference. Nathan sank into a chair, his face buried in his hands. Marcus, you told me you were trying to stop the trafficking. I am stopping it. By eliminating the people who trade in forced labor and sexual slavery and replacing them with an organization that actually saves lives. By murdering judges and framing doctors? Maya's voice rose. By removing obstacles and creating necessary cover stories. Judge Webb was taking money to dismiss cases against organizations that were destroying evidence of human rights abuses. Elena Morrison was an idealist whose testimony would have exposed not just MedCorp, but the entire network of people I'm working to save. Maya looked at Nathan, seeing the devastation in his eyes as he realized his brother had orchestrated Elena's death to protect a trafficking operation, even if that operation claimed moral justification. You killed her, Nathan whispered. Elena Morrison died because she couldn't see the bigger picture. Her testimony would have destroyed the very routes I use to move people to safety. Hundreds of lives hang in the balance of maintaining those connections. She was innocent. She was naive. And her naivety would have resulted in the deaths of countless people who depend on my organization for survival. Maya stepped toward the phone, her voice deadly quiet. And Nathan? What's his role in your moral crusade? Nathan was supposed to be the grieving doctor whose reputation was destroyed by false accusations. A man with nothing to lose who could provide cover for my team's activities while we dismantled MedCorp's forced labor operation. But he fell in love with me instead. Yes, which is why you have to die. The words hit the room like a physical force. Nathan's head snapped up, his eyes wide with horror. Marcus, no. Nathan, she knows too much. She's a trained detective with access to law enforcement resources. She's already connected dots that could expose not just our operation, but the lives of 300 people currently in transit to safety. Maya's hand moved instinctively toward her weapon, but Nathan caught her wrist. There's another way, Nathan said desperately into the phone. What way? Maya joins us. She helps us take down Hawthorne and MedCorp's real trafficking operation. She sees what we're really fighting for. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Is that what you want, Detective? To become part of an organization that operates outside the law to save people the system has abandoned? Maya looked at Nathan, seeing the desperate hope in his eyes, the love he was still fighting to preserve despite everything that had been revealed. She thought about Elena Morrison dead because she'd tried to do the right thing. She thought about Judge Webb, corrupt but alive because he'd been useful. She thought about District Attorney Hawthorne, building a career on the suffering of the very people she claimed to protect. What happens to Hawthorne? She asked. She disappears, quietly, cleanly, in a way that doesn't disrupt the networks she's unknowingly protecting. Murder. Justice. Maya closed her eyes, feeling the weight of every choice she'd ever made pressing down on her shoulders. When she opened them, Nathan was watching her with an expression that broke her heart. I can't, she whispered. Nathan's face crumbled. Maya, please. I can't become the thing I've spent my entire career fighting against, even if the cause is righteous. Then you understand why I have to eliminate you, Marcus said through the speaker. The sound of vehicles pulling up outside made them both freeze. Car doors slammed, and Maya heard the distinctive click of weapons being readied. Nathan. Marcus's voice was gentle now, almost loving. Bring her outside. Make it quick. Maya looked at Nathan, seeing the moment when he had to choose between his brother and the woman he loved. His hand moved toward the service weapon she'd given him for protection, and Maya realized with crystal clarity that she'd been wrong about everything. Nathan wasn't choosing between his brother and her. He'd already made his choice long before this moment, and the weapon wasn't for her protection. It was for his brother's. "I'm sorry, Marcus," Nathan said, his voice breaking as he raised the gun. "But I can't let you hurt her." The phone went silent, and Maya understood that they now had perhaps 60 seconds before Marcus's team breached the door, and their love story became a tragedy written in blood and betrayal. Love's final sacrifice. The first explosion shattered the front door, smoke and splinters of wood filling the air like deadly confetti. Maya threw herself behind the overturned table as automatic weapons fire chewed through the walls around them, plaster and insulation raining down like snow in hell. Nathan pressed himself against the wall beside the window, his stolen service weapon looking pathetically small against the firepower Marcus's team was deploying. His green eyes found Maya's across the chaos, and she saw everything he needed to say written in that single glance. "There's a back exit," he shouted over the gunfire. "Through the bedroom," Maya shook her head. "We go together or not at all. Maya, listen to me." Nathan's voice cracked with desperation. "Marcus doesn't want to kill me. He needs me alive to maintain the cover story. But he'll burn down half the city to get to you." Another explosion, closer this time. The floor beneath them shuddered, and Maya smelled gasoline. They were going to burn them out. "Then we make our stand here," Maya called back, checking her ammunition. 4 rounds left in her backup piece. Not enough to fight their way out, but enough to make a statement. "No." Nathan's voice carried a finality that made Maya's stomach drop. "I won't let you die for my brother's sins." "Nathan, don't you dare!" He was already moving, crossing the room in 3 quick strides, despite the bullets tracking his path. His hands cupped her face, his thumb brushing away tears she hadn't realized she was crying. "I love you," he said, his words barely audible over the gunfire. "Whatever happens next, remember that everything real between us started the moment you chose to trust me." Maya saw the truth in his eyes. The terrible, beautiful truth that he'd been building toward since the moment Marcus's call ended. "You're going to surrender. I'm going to save you. They'll kill you." Nathan smiled. And Maya saw Elena Morrison in that expression, saw the same tragic nobility that had driven her to seek justice even when she knew it would cost her everything. Maybe, but Marcus needs Dr. Nathan Cross alive to maintain his cover. The broken doctor whose life was destroyed by corruption, whose reputation was shattered by false accusations. Nathan's fingers traced her jawline with infinite tenderness. He doesn't need Dr. Nathan Cross to be happy. He just needs him to be useful. Maya grabbed his shirt, pulling him closer. "I won't let you sacrifice yourself for me." "You don't get to choose." Nathan kissed her then, hard and desperate and final. When he pulled back, his eyes were blazing with the kind of love that burned everything else away. "But you do get to choose what you do with the chance I'm giving you." Before Maya could stop him, Nathan stood up, his hands raised, his weapon clattering to the floor. "Marcus!" he shouted. "It's over. I'm coming out." The gunfire stopped with surgical precision, leaving only the sound of Maya's ragged breathing and the distant wail of sirens that might arrive in time to find their bodies, but not to save their lives. "That's my brother," Marcus's voice came from outside, warm with affection and disappointment. "Always trying to save everyone." Nathan walked toward the destroyed doorway, stepping carefully over debris and broken glass. He paused at the threshold, looking back at Maya with everything they might have been written in his expression. "Run," he mouthed silently. Then he stepped outside, and Maya heard Marcus's voice, closer now. "Hello, Nathan." "Let her go, Marcus. You have what you need." "Do I?" "She's a detective, Nathan. She'll never stop hunting us." Maya pressed herself against the wall beside the bedroom door, her heart pounding so hard she was sure Marcus's team could hear it. Through the gaps in the shattered wall, she could see Nathan standing in the courtyard, surrounded by 6 men in tactical gear, Marcus stood directly in front of him, and Maya was struck by how much the brothers resembled each other. Same dark hair, same green eyes, same strong jaw. But where Nathan's face showed compassion and regret, Marcus wore the cold confidence of a man who'd made peace with necessary violence. "She'll run," Nathan said. "She'll disappear. Maya's smart enough to know when she's beaten." "Is she?" Marcus gestured to one of his men who raised a sniper rifle. "Or is she the type of woman who'll spend the rest of her life trying to bring down the organization that killed the man she loves?" Maya saw Nathan's shoulders tense, saw him preparing for something she hoped she was wrong about. "There's only one way to be sure," Marcus continued. "You kill her yourself. Right now. Prove your loyalty to the cause, and we can move forward as brothers." Nathan looked back toward the safe house, his eyes finding the window where Maya crouched in the shadows. For a heartbeat, their gazes connected across the distance, and Maya saw his decision crystallize. "You're right," Nathan said, turning back to his brother. "There's only one way to be sure." Marcus smiled, the expression transforming his face into something almost gentle. "I knew you'd understand eventually. The greater good requires difficult choices." "It does." Nathan's voice was steady, resolved. "Which is why I can't let you leave here alive." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Maya watched Marcus's smile falter, watched understanding dawn in his eyes, just as Nathan lunged forward, his hands closing around the tactical vest of the nearest mercenary. "Grenade!" Nathan screamed, pulling the pin from the man's belt. "Maya, run!" The explosion lit up the night like a dying star, the shock wave throwing Maya backward through the bedroom window in a shower of glass and fire. She hit the ground hard, her ears ringing, her vision blurred with blood and tears. When the smoke cleared, the courtyard was a crater. Nathan was gone. Marcus was gone. The mercenaries were gone. Nothing remained but twisted metal and the acrid smell of cordite and burning flesh. Maya crawled toward the wreckage on hands and knees, her heart shattered into pieces too small to ever reassemble. She found Nathan's body 20 feet from the blast site, his face peaceful despite the violence that had claimed him. No wounds were visible from where she knelt, and for a moment she could pretend he was simply sleeping. "I love you too," she whispered, her fingers brushing his still warm cheek. Sirens filled the night air, growing closer. Maya looked around the destruction Nathan had wrought to save her, to save the people Marcus claimed to protect, to save a world that had never deserved their sacrifice. In Nathan's jacket pocket, she found Elena Morrison's phone. The real one, not the decoy Marcus had used to lure them to the hospital. The screen showed dozens of video files, audio recordings, and document scans. Everything Elena had died trying to preserve. Maya understood then that Nathan had been protecting more than just her life. He'd been protecting Elena's truth, keeping it safe until someone worthy could carry it forward. District Attorney Patricia Hawthorne's corruption was laid bare in Elena's careful documentation. Judge Webb's bribery was cataloged in meticulous detail. But more than that, Elena had recorded conversations with trafficking victims, testimonies from women and children whose lives had been destroyed by the very network Marcus claimed to be saving. The sirens were almost on top of her now. Maya pocketed the phone and walked away from the crater that had become Nathan's grave, leaving behind the only man she'd ever loved and carrying forward the evidence that would honor both his sacrifice and Elena Morrison's memory. 6 months later, Maya testified before a congressional committee investigating human trafficking in medical supply chains. Patricia Hawthorne was serving life without parole. Judge Webb had died in prison, killed by inmates who'd learned about his role in covering up crimes against children. MedCorp Industries was bankrupt, its executives facing federal charges that would keep them locked away for decades. The trafficking network Marcus had claimed to be reforming was truly dismantled, its victims finally free to tell their stories without fear of retribution. Maya never spoke publicly about Nathan Cross or his brother. The official record stated that Dr. Cross had died heroically while exposing the corruption that had destroyed Elena Morrison, a tragic figure whose love for a patient had driven him to seek justice at the cost of his own life. Only Maya knew the full truth. Only she understood that Nathan had died not just to save her, but to prove that love could triumph over even the most seductive justifications for evil. That in the end, the choice between right and wrong wasn't complicated by circumstances or noble intentions. It was simply a choice between love and everything that wasn't love. On quiet nights, Maya would visit the small grave marker she'd placed in the cemetery where Elena Morrison was buried. Nathan's name was engraved beside Elena's, two souls who died seeking justice and found something more precious in the process. "You saved me," Maya would whisper to the headstone. "Both of you saved me." The wind would carry her words away, and Maya would walk home through city streets that were a little cleaner because two people had chosen love over survival, truth over safety, and justice over everything else that might have mattered. In the end, that was enough. It had to be enough. The end.